This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some important updates to share with you. Bernie Sanders says that more needs to be done. More money to more struggling people in America. More help to be on the way if he has his way. I'll let you know exactly what Bernie Sanders said in the debate against Lindsey Graham of how he could fix America. But then I'm going to give you the other perspective, Lindsey Graham's perspective of why he thinks that Social Security should not get a boost, why there should be reform to that. Also, we'll talk about the $225 stimulus checks and a couple of other important updates as well. Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. If you appreciate the fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below, and I'm giving $200 checks to my subscribers. I'll talk more about that later on in the video, but first, let's talk about Bernie Sanders, skewers Republican critic of full-on socialism in Fox debate. So Bernie Sanders and Lindsey Graham had a debate on Fox News saying, is guaranteeing health care to all people socialistic? Senator asked Lindsey Graham in stellar defense on political philosophy. So basically, they went head to head on Fox News, and Bernie Sanders, if you're not familiar, but you might be, he has been a big proponent of stimulus checks. So in the past, he said Bernie Sanders presses Joe Biden on $2,000 stimulus checks, saying promises must be kept. This was from a while ago, but Bernie Sanders thinks that more money should be given out to the people and help Americans who are struggling the most. If there's money in the bank account, that $800 billion, maybe that should be given out as stimulus checks. And maybe there should be other stimulus provisions and other ways to help out the most struggling people in the country. So here is what Bernie Sanders has to say about that and how to fix the country. Then I'll give you Lindsey Graham's rebuttal after that.
I am the longest serving independent in the history of the United States Congress. So what I'm going to tell you today is not something that you hear very often on Fox or CNN or ABC or the Washington Post, or in fact in the halls of Congress. What I'm going to tell you is that the working class and the middle class of this country are in serious trouble. We are moving toward an oligarchic form of society where a small number of billionaires not only have extraordinary wealth, they have extraordinary political power. We are living at a time when half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck in the wealthiest country on earth, when 70 million Americans have no health insurance or are underinsured, when we have a starvation minimum wage at the federal level of $7.25 an hour, where half of the elderly workers, older workers in this country, have nothing in the bank as they fear retirement. What I believe is that now is the time not to defend the establishment, which is doing phenomenally well. When you have two people on top in America who own more wealth than the bottom 40%, two people, top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 92%. CEOs of major corporations today are making 350 times more than their workers, and we have more income and wealth inequality than any time in American history. Now is the time for the American people to stand up, make it clear that enough is enough, and that we need a government that starts representing all of our people, not just wealthy campaign contributors. What does that mean? It means that we have to end a corrupt political system in which big money buys elections. It means that we have to end a very unfair tax system in which billionaires in a given year don't pay a nickel in federal taxes. It means we have to raise the federal minimum wage to at least $15 an hour. It means that we have to join every other major country on earth in understanding that health care is a human right, not a privilege, and stop spending twice as much per capita on health care to enrich the drug companies and the insurance companies. It means that Medicare is going to have to negotiate prescription drug prices so that we can lower the cost of prescription drugs by 50%. It means that we cannot continue to be the only major country on earth not to have paid family and medical leave. It means that we have to restore the $300 tax credit so that we are not continuing to be a nation which has one of the highest rates of childhood poverty in the United States. It means that we have to expand Medicare to cover dental care, hearing aids, and eyeglasses so that elderly people in this country can live out their remaining years in dignity. And it means, among other things, that we cannot continue to ignore climate change, which is an existential threat to this planet. And obviously, given the tragedies that we have faced in the last month in terms of guns, we need serious and real gun safety legislation. Bottom line, let's create a government that works for all of us, not just the people on top. Thank you.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree or disagree with Bernie Sanders? Should there be more help for people who are struggling? Let me know your thoughts on that. So many argue that stimulus checks caused inflation. Is it true? Is it true that basically that they're saying that all the stimulus money that went out, that's why we're in the situation we're in now? Now, it's a tough question because we hear it from both different perspectives. The Republicans say that all the stimulus caused inflation. The Democrats say, no, it did not cause inflation. There's inflation all around the world. It's a global inflation problem. What's to believe? So is it true? Honestly, it's one of those things where we're seeing economists on both sides saying where it is true and it's not true. So I don't know who to believe. Whichever economist is more important, it's kind of split 50-50. But what are your thoughts on that? When it comes to stimulus, millions of Americans may get extra $225 payments under new proposals. See if you qualify. So this is going on in Indiana. So Indiana's Republican governor is proposing a plan to send $225 payments to taxpayers amid the highest inflation since 1981. So when a Republican is actually offering to send $225 checks, that's when you know things are getting a little rough. Now back to Lindsey Graham and his rebuttal. So Lindsey Graham, Lindsey Graham, get rid of this ad. All right, so Lindsey Graham confirms Republicans would go after Social Security, Medicare if they get a Senate majority. So I could not find a clip from that debate between Bernie Sanders and Lindsey Graham yet. I will find one, but this is Lindsey Graham just a few days ago before the debate, I guess kind of like a face-off sort of thing on Social Security and what he thinks should be done about it. Take a look at what he has to say here.
Well, number one, Mr. Chairman, I think this is a hearing worth having. And I take a different view about how to save Social Security. Mine's more realistic. Yours is a fantasy, but the problem is real. And you're a good man. You're consistent. Every time there's a problem, tax the rich. Count me in for more revenue. We're going to need more revenue. But if you think taxing the wealthy is going to save Social Security, you're wrong. So where are we with Social Security? By 2034, according to the recent trust fund report, the money in Social Security will require us to reduce benefits so that you can get only 77% of the benefits you owed because we're paying out more than we're taking in. That's a fact. It slipped a year, but we're on a glide path where over time, Senator Romney knows this, the money being paid in and the money taken out doesn't add up. And if you don't do something now, you're going to have a draconian choice of cutting benefits and raising taxes to keep the thing afloat. But here's the good news. We got some time if we act together. And here's the model I would suggest, the Reagan-O'Neill model. And I think it's in the 80s, Greenspan Commission was formed by President Reagan. Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan were known to have a drink together. And apparently during one of those discussions, they said, well, let's do something about Social Security because it's going broke. So they got Alan Greenspan and a bunch of folks to come up with some ideas. They did a little more on the revenue side, but they adjusted the age of retirement over time from 65 to 67. I just got my first Social Security check a few months ago. I was eligible 66, I think, in 2 months. In my case, when I was 21 and 22, my mom and dad died within about 15 months of each other. I had a 13-year-old sister. We moved in with an aunt and uncle who worked in textile plants in South Carolina. Probably never made over $30,000 in her life. The survivor benefit portion of Social Security for my sister until she got 18 really helped us get by. Now I am 66, soon will be 67. I have a good salary. I have a military retirement. I have a congressional pension plan. If you ask me to take a little less to save Social Security for people who need it more than I do, count me in. And it's going to take that kind of commitment from all of us. The wealthier people are going to have to take a little less in benefits. Younger people are living longer, so we're going to have to adjust the age probably once again. But here's the fact. In 1955, when I was born, there were 8.6 workers for every retiree. In 1990, there was 3.4. In 2022, there's 2.8. By 2050, there's 2.2. Senator Romney's done everything he can personally to save Social Security. If you ever go to a Romney family reunion, you'll see a lot of people going to pay into Social Security. I have let you down. I'm not married with no kids. It's people like me screwing this thing up. So the bottom line here is that we have fewer people working for the number of people retired, and if that doesn't create a problem, then I think you're missing the point. 2.2 people by the middle of the century are not going to generate the amount of money necessary to keep the fund solvent if we don't make some changes. So what are the changes that Simpson, Bowles, the Gang of Six, kind of bipartisan people have looked at? Adjusting the age of retirement, increasing revenue, and trying to make the benefit structure more efficient. So I don't need a lecture about Social Security. I understand the value of the program because when I was 22, lost both parents, had a 13-year-old sister to take care of, the money really mattered. It matters to a lot of people on retirement. It's their primary source of income. I'm at a stage now where I could wouldn't change my lifestyle to have a smaller COLA for me, maybe none at all, but smaller for sure, and to restructure the benefit schedule so the money will be there for people who need it more than I do. I don't know how to solve this problem without all of us working together. I know that what Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill did in the 1980s worked for a while. We got to do that again. They didn't go to the approach of Senator Sanders of just taxing the wealthy because it's not going to work as a standalone proposition. So the country is in a world of hurt. Our financial house is not in order. By 2031, we'll have $2 trillion in annual deficits. The national debt by 2032 will be $40 trillion. By 2052, debt to GDP will be 185%. That's a separate problem from Social Security, but Social Security is sort of consumed in that. Now, the trustee report assumes something about the viability of the trust fund, Mr. Chairman. They assumed about a 3.5% inflation rate. Well, we know now that that's not exactly what's going on. Interest rates are going up. Inflation rates are at 8%. Every increase in interest rates is about $200 billion debt service. So we're on a trajectory now. There we go. We're on a trajectory where inflation is higher than anticipated, which puts stress on the trust fund. Interest rates are going up, which will put stress on the economy. So what I propose we do is have this discussion. You can blame us if you would like, but you're not going to be able to blame me for not caring because I do. And I will challenge your assumptions about how to save the system, understanding you're a patriotic American and you want to do what you think is best. But in your world, we're all the bad guys and you figured this out. You haven't figured it out. What you're selling doesn't work. And we'll have a good discussion about what will work. It will be bipartisanship. It won't be the Sanders plan. It won't be individual private accounts. That might be part of the mix, who knows. The bottom line is we're going to have to make some hard decisions. I stand ready to make those hard decisions. Senator Romney has been terrific. Senator Romney wants somebody outside of politics to give us some information like we had with Simpson Bowles, like we had with the Gang of Six, to adjust Social Security and stop it from running out of money by 2034 and having to reduce benefits. And I think he and others on our side, and people on your side, quite frankly, are willing to do this. And I would invite President Biden to be part of it. I would love to be able to sit down with the administration and see if we can recreate the momentum for Simpson Bowles or the Gang of Six. where we put on the table something of everything, where everybody has to give a little bit to save a system worth saving. So if this is an election year issue, great. I think it needs to be talked about, and we're going to talk about it in terms on our side that is a little more holistic than just tax the rich. Thank you.
What are your thoughts? Do you agree with Lindsey? Do you agree with Bernie? Who do you think is right? Who do you think is wrong? Do you like a little bit of both or some points from both sides? Let me know your thoughts on all of that. And that is all the news that I have for you today to hopefully cheer you up a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella's tip of the day. I want to tell you that you could be anything that you want in the world. You could be, for example, you could be a veterinarian, take care of dogs, help dogs, or you could be a nurse. And you could help people, or you could be a doctor, or you could be like anything as you want. You are your own self. You could be whatever you want when you get older. If you're older. Bye, that was Bella's tip of the day.
Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget $200 checks, details down in the description below, and going to the beach in a little bit. Hopefully, my neck is feeling much better than it did earlier, so gonna have some fun with the kids. Hopefully you have a great day. If you want to check out my latest videos, my other channels, you can click up here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.